any questions, please raise your hand or use the chat. If you use the chat, I may be able to answer it during the session, but we have a lot to go through today. So just be mindful of your TVs, your cell phones, so that way everyone is able to hear and get the information. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and mute everyone. You can still unmute yourselves, but I'm gonna go ahead and mute everyone so that way, again, everyone is able to hear. Yep, and just wanted to say hi. So if you guys haven't seen me before, but most of you probably have, but it's nice to see you this Wednesday. It's really cold out. So I'm happy you guys are indoors, they're warm, and you guys are getting this information. So again, today we will be going over the Podcasts app, which is pre-installed before you get your iPad. So everyone should have the Podcasts app if you haven't deleted it. It should be on the first screen of your iPad. And it's this purple icon that says Podcasts. So you can't miss it. But so today we're going to go over what is a podcast. We're going to go over some history and some benefits of listening to podcasts. Of course, we're going to introduce the podcast app and see what it's all about and how to navigate it using the navigation bar inside of the app. And last but not least, we're going to end with an overview and a discussion in how the podcast app can benefit your daily life. Okay. So first, we're going to go over what is a podcast and again, some history and benefits of podcasts. So what is a podcast? A podcast is a series of spoken word and audio episodes, all focused on a particular topic. A podcast series features one or more recurring hosts engaged in a discussion about a particular theme or current event. So what I akin to podcasts is kind of like the radio, but just in a modern way. You can access it on your tablet, your computer, your phone. So it's just very convenient. And there's a lot of information out there, which is what we're going to go over today. But podcasts, the discussion and content, they can range from being carefully scripted to being completely improvised. So you really, you're not going to know what you're going to get until you listen, and you may be surprised about the way they present a certain information. So next, we are going to watch a video on a brief history of podcasts.
Have you ever wondered how podcasting got started? Believe it or not, podcasting is relatively new to the scene. So let's rewind and see how we got to where we are today. In this video, we'll talk about where it all started, or the before time. We'll also talk about how the NFL, the football league, made podcasting possible. So thanks, NFL. And at the end of the video, we'll talk about the Apple Revolution. So as you may know, I started out my live streaming career in the world of internet radio and in the world of radio. When I was starting out, there was this new thing called RSS feeds, where people could start to download audio on demand. They had the ability to subscribe to blogs, which were text, but also to audio clips. This was the simplest way of transferring an audio clip between multiple people, to share it with your audience, if you will, if you'd use modern day terminology. So this is about the year 2000. The turn of the century, the new millennium, where some people were freaking out about their computers not knowing how to turn from 99 to 00. But most importantly, this is where podcasting started. It started in these different technologies. The first iterations were these RSS feeds, these ability for other viewers, for your audience, to subscribe to your content. This way we could start to deliver that content. It wasn't as much audio as it was being used for text content. Definitely wasn't able to be used for video content back then. But this is that first chance that we could be able to create subscriptions where our people could subscribe to our content all the way back in the year 2000, which for some of us wasn't that far back at all, actually. And to see where podcasting has grown to is pretty freaking fantastic. And if you'd like to exercise your power to subscribe, I highly recommend you hit the subscribe button here on the Visibility Hacking channel. We have new videos for you every week, helping you and your small business level up your influence, your authority, and your income online. Let's help you connect to your ideal audience and nurture them through your communities. Now, not long after we had this introduction of RSS feeds and the abilities to subscribe, the NFL was experimenting. The NFL of all places. I struggled to understand this at first, but when I was diving into the history, it was obvious. What is the NFL's number one motivator? It's not a particular team winning, because regardless, whatever team wins or whatever team loses, the league in and of itself is still making money. The two big things that the league cares about are viewers and money. And so they're willing, in order to get that audience and to get that money, they're willing to put out a lot. And they were looking at these cutting edge technologies and looking at ways that they can use them. So in 2003, the NFL did something totally revolutionary. The New England Patriots launched a new show where they were actually sharing the audio files of interviews that were done at a blogging convention. They were sharing them as MP3 files. That was revolutionary simply because we had never thought about doing that before. This is the first time we're starting to see repurposing of content from offline to online. We're starting to see movement of platform. So our viewers who are usually watching our TV show, if we're the NFL, or they're sitting their butts in our seats at our games, to now they're engaging with our content on a different platform. They're eating up our content in a different way. And that is a beautiful thing. And it's also where we're starting to see this distribution of audio files. These longer form audio files where people are actually listening to them. Now, this is 2003, so it's around the time that we have Napster and we have file sharing and we have all of these different things happening where we're sharing audio files, but it's mostly we're talking about music. Nobody's talking about talk. Nobody's talking about talk radio in the world of internet. They're not talking about sharing interviews. So that was able to continue to grow while they kept a clear eye on what was happening in the file sharing world when it came to the movie and music industries. Pretty revolutionary, all from a sports team of all things. Did you think that was true? Because it is. It's absolutely true. You can look it up yourself. But let me know if you believe it. If you think that was cool. If you remember back in the day, any of these precursors to the podcasting movement, let me know down in the comments. I love your stories. So of course we have to talk about the Apple revolution. So in 2005, only a couple more years later, a couple more years after this NFL thing was happening, Apple finally decided that podcasts were going to be a thing. It only took a couple years to go from the first sharing of audio files to this is going to be something big. This is going to be a platform where people are going to engage. So much so that Apple decided to dive in and start using podcasts as part of their platform delivery. So Apple Podcasts was born, and this became the first directory of these audio shows. So the audio shows, these podcasts that we listen to, are a combination of that first RSS feed, the ability to subscribe, the ability to send out notifications, and for other people, our viewers, to aggregate those podcasts as they came in. We had that technology, and we had the sharing of audio files, all merged together to create this beautiful thing that we call the podcast. And then Apple swoops in and says, hey, we're going to make it easier for you to find all of these awesome pieces of content by creating a directory for you. And that, my friends, is the history of podcasting. Now, what's happening in the future? Well, I'll give you a hint. We got another video talking about the future of podcasting, but the tip I'll give you right now is that the future of podcasting is live video. Being able to engage live with hosts and guests and listeners all together, that is the future of podcasting. And we'll show you how to do that with your content. So if you're already producing podcast content, then what I need you to do is click the link down below and download the live stream analysis. I want you to work through that assignment. Look at the content you're producing, whether it's your podcast or your live video content or your live stream show, or maybe you're creating videos once in a while for your YouTube page. Whatever it is, I want you to analyze that content using what we call the Stream 360 framework. This will walk you through all the different things you need to know. Give yourself a score at the end, and if you want to take that score and amplify it, triple it, quadruple it, 10x it, what will you? Then I want you to click the link in that workbook and join us for Live Academy. We'll show you how to take your podcast to the next level, how to take your message to your audience and amplify your voice, because your message matters, and we want you to find that audience. I love it, my friends. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. We will be doing a future of podcasting episode very soon. If you want to see it, definitely let us know down in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, download your live stream analysis, watch these videos. Remember, I love you, be excellent to each other, and just go live.
So I hope everyone thought that video was interesting. I certainly learned a lot as well. So I just put it in the chat, the name of that YouTube channel, if you want to see that video she was talking about or other videos on her channel. But some benefits of listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great to listen to when you have free time, when you would usually listen to music. You know, you can listen to the news or articles while completing other tasks, which is multitasking, basically. One study shows that podcasts stimulate mental imagery more intensely than watching or reading and cause listeners to pay more attention. You know, since people are listening to podcasts instead of watching them, it forces listeners to use their imagination and build the pictures in their mind. So people who listen to podcasts regularly have stronger and more vivid imagination. You know, podcasts also help us become better listeners. You know, since they're all about listening, they help us have a greater appreciation for simply listening, i.e. listening to understand, right? You know, podcasts allow us to become a part of what we're listening and trigger us to listen, pay attention, and then use our imagination to form pictures of the story of what you're listening to. They stimulate different parts of the brain, again, forcing us to actively listen, especially since, you know, if it's a topic that you're truly interested in. And last but not least, you know, you can learn new things. You know, it's pretty obvious and a simple idea, right? But it's definitely worth mentioning because podcasts come in a variety of lengths, you know, from a few minutes to an hour. So it's easy to listen to an episode, even if you only have, you know, 30 minutes for an example. And if you don't finish listening in one sitting, you know, they're always at disposal on your iPad, right? And they're just a great use of time, and they allow you to become more involved and educated in areas that spark your interest. So again, some people are visual learners, some people are audio learners, some do both. So podcasts allow you to explore that side of your learning style. Some fun facts about podcasts. The word itself, podcast, is a portmanteau or a combination of the words iPod and broadcast, which is pretty cool when I researched that. And then as of March 2023, there are over 3 million podcasts and 160 million episodes in the world. So there is definitely not a shortage of information. It's just about finding what you're interested in and what you want to learn more about. Again, next we're going to go over the podcast app itself. Just do a little intro so you can learn more about the app itself. So the podcast app, audio that informs and inspires. So again, you can discover podcasts that entertain, inform, and inspire. You can explore shows exploring a variety of topics, including entertainment, comedy, news, and sports, and even more. Some history, just like she just said in the video, in June 2005, that's when iTunes 4.9 was released, starting with 3,000 entries. So the podcast app, at first it didn't exist. It did it through iTunes on the computer or the laptop. So by June 2012, the standalone app, the Apple Podcast app, was released along with iOS 6. So if you think about it, right now we're on iOS 16 or iPadOS 16. So if you subtract 6 from 16, that's 10. It's 10 whole years when this app was released. So it's been out for a while. So it's just kind of crazy to think it's been that long, right? In April 2020, that's when Apple Podcasts surpassed 1 million shows, again, which is crazy in just 8 years. And then in the next year after, in June 2021, Apple launched the option for podcast creators to implement paid subscriptions. So, the people that were creating this content were able to get their podcast out there and actually get paid to release their content. So that's definitely a game changer that people can make money through this, right? Next, we're going to go over the navigation, so how to actually navigate the app. So I'm going to be switching between the slides and the app itself. But first, this is what your home screen looks like. So you can view popular and recently listened to and podcasts. And the navigation button at the top left is very critical. That's how you look at what to browse, the charts. You can search podcast. You'll have a library section where you can look at your saved and downloaded episodes. And then you have a section called stations, where you can create your own station of your followed podcast. So again, when you hit that button, your screen will look something like this, where the first section, again, you can see the home screen. You can browse different podcasts. You can view popular podcasts, the charts, so you can see what's the #1 podcast, for example, and then you can search for podcasts. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the podcasts app. And it, again, looks like this. So either you have it horizontal or you have it vertical. If you have it horizontal, the bar on the left automatically shows. If you have it vertical, you'll have to hit the navigation button to access it. But again, if you hit listen now, this is the home screen where you can see recommended podcasts, popular podcasts, and different sections. So like I listened to one regarding crime. So they're recommending some crime podcasts to watch and some different ones to try. So look, Dateline, me and my friend watch Dateline quite a bit. So I would be interested in that, NBC News, etc. So this is just your podcast home screen. For the browse, of course, you can browse by different topics. So new and noteworthy, it's Women's History Month. So they're showcasing women producers, some top shows, top episodes, etc. So there's a lot here you can actually take advantage of. This is pretty cool how they have this set up. But yeah, you can
Alice,
really
is
keep
all this
going.
free?
Yes, all of it is free, unless the podcast itself you have to subscribe, but most of them is free. So it's very accessible. The next one is charts, where of course you can see again the top shows in the podcast app. So it looks like number one is The Deck Investigates, The Daily from the New York Times, Dateline. These are the most popular episodes and shows. And last but not least is the search. So in the search, you can search for particular podcasts, or you can actually type in the name itself, which is pretty convenient. So let's say I wanted to hit Women's History Month, it would show all of the Women's History Month related podcasts. If I search for comedy or hit comedy, I can look at all the podcasts regarding comedy and etc. So there is a lot of different topics, or you can like search for one, for example. So let's see, I wanted to search one for cooking. So if I search cooking, look, I love The Pioneer Woman, so I would definitely listen to that one. But look, there's a lot. Girl Meets Farm, her YouTube channel is really great for recipes. I like Paula Deen. You can do it for certain shows, maybe even let's see, what about Law and Order? Let's see what happens when I put Law and Order.
Yeah, let's see.
And look, Law and Order SVU podcast. Like, how cool is that, right? So if you search and open it, look, you can, you know, for this, you can listen to the actors and actresses and from their discussion or from their. So that's pretty cool, right? Next up in the navigation bar is the library. So you can look at all of your recently updated podcasts that you follow. You can view all the shows that you follow. You can view all the ones that you saved. So I don't have any saved right now. You can see which ones you have downloaded. And the latest episodes for which, again, whatever podcast or shows that you follow. So I'll go into how to do that in a second. And last but not least is the stations. So you can actually create your own station with all of the podcasts that you have followed. Okay, so when you open a podcast, you know, when you open the actual player, these are the controls that you're going to use in that player. So obviously the triangle is the play button, the pause button is the pause button that you find on regular remotes. If you see the one on the left with the time, it says 15, that's how you can jump back a few seconds if you miss something. And then the forward arrow with the 30, that's how you can jump forward. And of course, if you want to change the number of seconds you skip back, you can go to settings, podcasts, and then change that. You can also edit the playback speed. You can stream the audio to other devices if you're able to. And then there's those three dots that we are very familiar with. This usually means like the more button, so you can choose more actions such as sharing or downloading the episode. And you can also set a timer to stop playback after a certain period of time. Because yeah, if you're listening to it and for example, let's say you fall asleep, you don't want that playing the whole, you know, the whole night or the whole time, right? So you can actually set a timer to stop that when, you know, for a certain amount of time if you so choose to. But again, let's go in the app and let's try to listen to a podcast. So I like true crime. So when you tap on it, you see you get the name, the author of the podcast. You can read an about or a section about what the podcast is about, and you can view all the seasons of that particular podcast. So look, this one has 15 seasons. Lord have mercy. So you can listen to whatever one you want. So let's see. Let's go to browse. And then let's again find, let's see the top shows, Dateline, NBC. Look, again, you can hit more on the right. And you can then see, again, more information about it. Let's say we want to open this episode. So it says Finding Rita. So you would hit the play sign. And then look at the bottom.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today and check out our wide range of all-wheel and four-wheel drive vehicles, like a reliable, adventure-ready RAV4. Find out about special offers on buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Let's say if you want
Tonight on
to the Longmont Police.
I haven't seen or heard from my daughter.
So this
in a
is
couple
cool.
of
This is
days.
literally a
Please, like, sometimes people just, you know, they just go off.
So
And I'm
again,
like, but Rita doesn't ever just go off this long without telling me, you know,
so again, you're
especially
really
her
actively
kids.
listening, and you can create
That
your
was
own
enough.
story in your
They
head.
assigned the case to Detective Cody
But yeah, that's pretty cool. So again, it's the play
Clark.
and the pause. If you want to go back 15 seconds, you hit go back 15 seconds. If you want to go forward 30 seconds, you hit forward 30 seconds. At the bottom left, you can adjust the playback speed. So let's say I wanted to listen to
that's
1.5
good,
times
'cause I have
fast.
trouble with that.
Mm-hmm.
2 states and 2
You see
countries,
how it's a little
and at the
faster?
center of it all, 2
So
women.
depending on, you know, if you can still grasp what they're talking about, you know, you can go faster if you'd like. If you hit the 3 dots, you can then, there's a lot of different options. You can download the episode, you can follow the show itself. So you would follow Dateline. So let's go ahead and do that. So we can add that to our followed shows. It's following, great. And of course, there are other options as well. So you can actually share, you know, copy the link to the episode. You can share the episode. So you can mail it or email it or iMessage it to someone, which is again, pretty cool. If you find something interested, you can save the episode. So like episode saved. And then you can play the next one, the next episode once it's complete, or you can go the last episode. So it's all in your queue right here. And then you can delete or add them as you choose. Again, when you're in the show page itself, if you hit the top right, that's also the more, where you can get more options. So you notice right next to the more button on the top right, it has a check mark. That's because I followed it while I was watching the episode. So let's say you wanted to unfollow, you can unfollow it. If you follow, you can follow it. And as soon as you follow an episode, it automatically downloads to your library. So look, that Dayline episode we just listened to, it automatically downloaded as soon as I listened to it. So it's, again, pretty convenient to see what episodes you've watched and which ones you can view whenever.
Do a music one, Alex.
Sure. Let's go to the search. Let's see if they got something on music. There you go. There's music. And then you see there are some different shows. So it's all about maybe seeing someone you know and you're interested in. So like this one, R&B. So they talk about, it has Grammy Award winning singer Tank and his business partner. This podcast is for super dedicated R&B fans, from Keith Sweat to Pink Sweats. So it's just let's do this. Let's see, Michael B. Jordan. Let's see what he has to say. So we're gonna play that episode. So again, at the bottom, the player opens.
Another week, another free pass to entertainment. Check out all the shows and movies you can watch with Xfinity Flex. No,
It can't be missed.
The authorities on all things R&B. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tank.
Jay Valentine.
This is the R&B Money Podcast.
Yes, it is.
It sounds like a radio show.
All things
you open a podcast.
R&B.
So
You gotta move. You can't throw it. You just stay there. Wait on. You know what I'm saying? That's head movement. In the building.
Regular.
You know,
for example,
some people are gifted. Many are called, but the chosen are few.
They also have the notes.
We've watched this young man grow
talk about.
From just small little bud, small little seed.
Yeah, through the wire.
Through the wire.
Yeah.
Small little bud, small little seed. Into the biggest superstar in the world. Our friend in the building.
Yeah.
He hoops okay. His hoop game, we still working on his hoop game, but he's still a good friend. Make some noise for Michael B. Jordan in the building. Yeah!
What's up, man? Brethren, what's going on? Finally. This nigga brought oranges.
He brought oranges.
It's a cute.
Excuse the language, but but yeah, you can literally listen to whatever topic you want. So it's pretty amazing what you can do. So hey, I want to listen to this more. I want to listen to other episodes. So I want to make sure I follow the show. So again, here or up right here, you can again save this episode. You can follow the show. So again, that way, when you appear, you're saved on the left, you're downloaded. If you want to have it downloaded. And then at the bottom left, you see this stations section, right? So if you want to create your own station, so let's say these two that we have saved, right? So we hit new station, then you want to title it. So if it was a specific topic, you could put cooking, entertainment, music, art, whatever. So for example, we're just gonna do entertainment. And then look, it has entertainment, and then you can adjust the settings as you choose. But it says, for the last one, it says podcast. Choose podcast 0 of 3. So when we tap on that, look, you can choose the ones that you want, or you can just have the option where it includes all of them automatically. So that way, when you go back and then you hit done, look, you have your own entertainment station. So that way you can play the episodes and you can view and change the order. So like show title, date published. If you want the newest ones first, you can choose hide played episodes if you want or no. But you have your own entertainment station. So you can group your podcasts based on a certain topic if you so choose. And then of course, if you want to just view them all or the ones that you saved, downloaded, your shows, you can just navigate between the menu. But the app isn't, it's not that hard to navigate. It's pretty much going through this bar and then using the top left button to navigate if you're holding it a certain way, and then utilizing this more button at the top right for whatever section you're in. So it's not too hard, and it's just amazing. And again, what you can access. So like, let's say we want to do science, I was a science buff. So it's pretty cool. Something about natural science. They probably have one on history somewhere in here. Right here goes history. So like I always say, the world is your oyster. So you can explore whatever topic that you like. So I like TV a lot, so you can view whatever topic that you like. So and then now we're going to do a quick overview. So this he may look familiar to you guys. He does the Siri video in module 2. So he also has a video on this app. So it'll just be nice to have an overview.
When I was growing up, there was just the radio and TV to get your news and entertainment. Well, maybe movies and newspapers. But fast forward to just a few years ago, and podcasts began to take root. And man, there is a podcast for every topic under the sun. I have an awesome golden retriever named Cooper. I have an Apple Watch, and I have Apple AirPods. And this is about the best combination ever. Now, I listen to podcasts when I walk Cooper, and we walk every day. Podcasts are awesome. Roll the intro.
So the app that he shows you, you know.
Hi, my name is Rich. As best I can, I've been releasing videos on Fridays for seniors and beginners on how to use their iPhone and iPad. Simple stuff, really. Basic videos. Videos designed to help you actually get started, as opposed to videos that make you want to give your iPad away, or worse yet, just toss it into the garbage can. If you're looking for a YouTube channel with easy to follow videos, then please consider subscribing to this channel. And if you do, you'll find a great community of engaged folks learning together. So today's video is all about Apple Podcasts. If you don't know what a podcast is, it's an audio program, kind of like an old-time radio show. Podcasts cover a huge range of topics. You can download them to your iPad and listen at your leisure. And today, I'm going to show you how to navigate the podcast app, how to search for a podcast and add it to your library or follow it, how to unfollow a podcast or remove it from your library, how to save a podcast for later listening, and then lastly, how to manage settings for each podcast. Let's get started. Okay, the first thing I want to show you is how to navigate the podcast app. First thing you do is you actually open it, and it's this little icon right here, this little purple icon with circles and a person in the middle of the circles. So you tap on it. And down at the bottom, you'll notice some icons here that you can use.
I'm going to expand it for you guys, okay?
Okay.
So that way you guys can see.
Drawing directly on an iPad screen doesn't really allow for precision, right? Well, the only thing you need
can use to navigate around. But right when you open it, it typically lands on Listen Now. And you can just immediately begin listening to a podcast that's in here. These are podcasts that Apple is promoting. You can also browse for podcasts, and you can do this by top shows and top episodes and news and just things like that. Kind of like this. There's topics, Oscars, movie night, patch notes, top trailers. There's just all kinds of things that you can just sort of browse your way around and look at. Then there's also your library, and here you can see I don't have any shows in my library yet. I'll show you how to add that in just a second. But as you build up a library, this is where your podcast will land. And lastly, you can search for a podcast by tapping on search, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But that is how you get around the podcast app. You can listen, browse, library, or search. Just like that. So the next thing I want to show you is how to search for a podcast. If you just tap on search and you go up to the little space up here where it says all podcasts, maybe you type in business and click search. And now all of the podcasts related to business comes up. And you can choose anything you want to choose. And you can search by any topic that you want. You can maybe search for health.
That's
See
a good one.
what kind of podcasts are related to health. And here's a whole bunch of podcasts related to health. And it's a real simple process. All you do is tap on search, put your cursor up in the search bar, and type in what you're searching for. And I don't really know the name of a whole lot of podcasts, so I just have to search by topic, like sports. And you can see all of the sports podcasts that are in here. And that's how you search for a podcast. Pretty straightforward. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is how to actually add a podcast to your library. So we'll go back to search and we'll type in, I don't know, we'll try finances. And we'll see what comes up. And you've got a whole bunch of podcasts here on finances. So we'll try the Dave Ramsey programs. To add that to your library, all you have to do is tap on it and hold and click on Follow Show. And that's it.
Yep, you can also
now when you go to your library,
show that way. You can hold on
there
to
is the Dave Ramsey Show.
Get some different options.
When you tap on it, you can see all
the
the
different
latest
ways of doing the
episodes
same thing
that are on here.
The best way to burn fat and get in shape. It's not keto, paleo, fasting, or vegan, and it's not super intense work.
If you want to unfollow that, maybe you've got a podcast in here that you just decide you don't listen to very much or you don't like, you can just tap and hold and click on unfollow show. And that's all there is to it. And now you've removed the app from your library, and that's how you unfollow a podcast. The next thing I want to show you is how to save a podcast for later listening. So we're going to go back to Dave Ramsey. I'm going to hold on it and I'm going to follow it. And then I'm going to go to my library and I'm going to look up all of the episodes that he has here. Maybe this one right here is what I want to listen to later. So I'm going to tap on this little 3 dots right there and I'm going to click on download episode. And you'll get a little purple icon there that shows that it's downloaded. And now if you go over to downloaded, here is that episode that I just downloaded, and you can listen to it at any time you want. And it's very simple. Sometimes you have podcasts that you want to save for a long time. You don't want to just listen to them and move on to the next podcast, and this is a great way to do that. And that's how you download a podcast for later listening. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is how to manage the settings for each podcast. So if we go back to my library and we go back to my shows and we see the Dave Ramsey Show, if you just tap and hold on that, and you can go to settings right here, you get a bunch of choices. You can actually follow or unfollow the podcast here. You can get notifications here. Your iPad will actually pop up a notification that a new episode is now available. You can leave that on. You can sort them from oldest to newest or newest to oldest. You can hide played episodes. So you'll notice over time, if podcasters put out a podcast every week, and after a year you've got 52 podcasts in there, you might not want to see all of those. It can get cluttered. So you can turn on hide played episodes. You can turn that on, and now they don't show up in your library. You can set up automatic downloads to where it automatically downloads the podcast. But you can limit the number of downloads too, to just the most recent, or the 2 most recent, or 1 day, 1 week, 2 weeks, or a month. I typically just put the most recent. Because if I miss one, I just miss it. I don't care most of the time. But that's up to you. You can choose whatever you want. And then you can put remove played downloads, and that way you don't use up all of the storage space on your iPad. And I just leave that on, and that way once I've listened to the podcast, it gets deleted. But if I want to save that podcast, I just download it over there. And once you have all of the settings to your liking, then you just tap done, and that's it. And that's how you manage the settings for each podcast. You know, podcasts are a great form of not only audio entertainment, but also a great learning tool. I guarantee a simple search will reveal just about any topic you're interested in. And though I didn't cover it in today's video, listening to your podcast using these beautiful AirPods just can't be beat. Well, I hope you learned a few things about the podcast app and will dive in and give it a try. Let me know in the comments below if that's you. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
So I thought that was a great overview about how to use the app, and again, some new things you may have learned. So now we're just going to discuss how the app can benefit your daily life. So I thought of these questions. So 1, do you have experiences with podcasts?
No.
2, what is one new fact that you learned today? What type of podcasts are you interested in? Or how can podcasts improve your daily life? So if you'd like to respond to any of these questions or the presentation itself, please raise your hand, or if no one's speaking, you can just unmute yourself. So who would like to start us off with?
Alex, are these podcasts, are they all just audio, or are they in addition to audio? Can you see the actual shows themselves? Are they video or?
No, that's a good question. So a podcast is literally, it's an audio program. So like in the beginning, it's akin to like the radio. It's just the difference is these are online versus offline. So Yeah, I haven't seen one with the video. I'm sure there may be one or a few, but mostly audio, just audio programs.
So like if you, but it's, they have a lot of TV shows as well on there. Is that what it's saying?
Yeah. So one of them that we listened to was Dateline, for example. So that
Right,
was literally
right.
a Dateline episode, but just audio. So there are some TV shows that have the same version, but just podcast version, but they're also just complete, unique content creators that create their own content. So once you search up a topic, you can look at all the different ones that are there. Some are, big brand, big name companies, and some are just individuals. So you get an array, which is really great.
Because I was thinking that some of the shows that I might have gone to sleep on, I missed, I could probably go back and catch up on it. Like I went to sleep on a show last night. I really wanted to know the ending. So I'm gonna look it up and see if I can find out what the ending was from last night.
Yeah, if you don't
That's a
if you
good
don't have
idea.
access to that to whatever service that TV show may be on, try doing it this way. So that way you can at least listen and catch the ending
Absolutely.
of what you may have missed. So
Sure.
I'm glad that's
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
I woke up and I said, daggone, I went to sleep on the show and I don't know how it ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I hope you enjoyed today, Greer. Nice to see you.
I surely have. This has been very informative as always, Alex. Thank you so much.
But Al,
No
this remind
problem.
me, back in the day, but they didn't have TVs, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
Just listen to everything.
Yeah, just listen. So this is just an online
To the radio.
version.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's just another
Transmitting
way of getting
radio.
information. So really quick
Mhm.
before the next I see Teresa asked a question. Can you search by a specific podcast name? Yep, you sure can. You can search by name, topic, creator, anything. And then these are not just Apple podcasts, but the podcast that Apple has put on their platform. So I'm sure there are Apple specific podcasts or podcasts directly from Apple, but they just wanted to have the library available. And, they came up, with the podcast and able to have a directory. So the app itself, because beforehand, the app was through iTunes, which is a application. So it was an application within an application, basically. So they, Apple thought to release it as its own app, which I think was, again, a great idea, where you can then, again, access all of these different episodes and shows and information. So, cool. So I see I have some hands up. Again, you can either ask me a question, or I would love if you could answer one of the questions that you see on the screen. So, Kim.
Yes.
Hi there.
Excuse me. I just want to make a statement. This is the reason why I keep coming back on this iPad, because it's always something that we don't know, that that is new to learn. I didn't know anything about a podcast. This video was very, very, very interesting, very informative. And I just want to thank you, Alex, for all your hard work. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Oh, thank you, Kim. I
And
appreciate
ditto
it.
to that.
Ditto, ditto.
Yeah,
There's always
I have
something new.
Yes,
to that.
yes. I have about 10 years experience with iPhone technology, and it's all about trial and error. That's how you learn new things, and just improve a little each day. So I don't mind, and it's my pleasure is always to share information, because that's you got to do. You got to help others with.
And we can
the
go
things
back to
that you can
YouTube
teach,
and watch
so.
that video again, right, Alex?
Yeah, so like any of the videos that you watch, usually they're YouTube videos, so you can always go on the YouTube app and search for these videos that I've showed you guys. So like the lady beforehand and the guy that we just seen, you can search all of their videos on YouTube, so it's very convenient. So thank you, Kim. I
Okay,
appreciate
thank
it.
you, Alex. Have a good day.
You too. Next up is Ollie Cunningham. Go ahead and unmute, Ollie.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I would like to answer the question number one. No, I never have experienced podcasts, but my daughters walk around with podcasts on their ears all day long. And I asked them once, I said, what is that you listen to? No podcast. And then she took it off and took it off her iPhone and said, I mean her earpods and said, and I heard a lady just talking. I said, oh well, I never knew it was this interesting. So
Yes.
now I'm going to be walking around with my iPod earpods and say, yeah, I'm listening to
See, that's I love that story because it's all about a different perspective. So what I can say to that is some things in life that you may bat your eye at, but if you just look at it from a different perspective, you may again not realize what you may find out. So I love that. I really do.
You do that, Alex. You do that for us.
Yeah. So Miss Ollie,
you
so
bring
Miss
us
Ollie,
up. Yeah.
So Miss Ollie, you gonna hang with your daughter, right, Miss Ollie?
No, I'm gonna be above them again.
All right.
Oh wow! Well,
I'm high tech
Your daughter's
now.
gonna be so surprised. Wow.
Yes, they are.
Right. Once you listen to them, you can tell your granddaughter, "Hey, I listen to this, and this." She's gonna be like, "What? What's going on?"
Nothing on you.
So I love that. So yes, I hope you enjoy and find some that you like.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you so much.
No problem. Next up is Miss Shirley. Go ahead and unmute, Shirley.
Yeah. Hello. Good morning, everyone. Good morning,
Good
Alex.
morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hello. How's it going?
Okay. Everything's going fine, Alex. Thank you.
No problem.
I want to answer number 3. What type of podcast are you interested in? I like to listen to talk radio. I'm an old buff from listening to Kathy Hughes back in the days or whatever. But now I like to listen to different podcasts with Roland Martin or different talk shows.
Yes, that's great. And of course, that's literally what all podcasts are about. So, I mean, if you, if you want to search for Kathy Hughes and see what pops up, you can search for anything and related podcasts show up. So if I typed in her name, for example, look, there are.
Lorna Adams has a show, I think.
It depends on if they're on here or not, but if you type in, a certain creator that's, popular, you might again find some other ones that are interesting to you. Yeah. So, yes.
Okay. Yes, and the videos were very interesting and helped me to show me how to maneuver through the podcast, field.
Yes, I appreciate that because I try to, start off with the basics and kind of go from there. So that's why I did like the history, and about the app itself. So that way you have that background information. So when you actually get into the app, you kind of already have a sense of what you're going to expect. So yes, I love the videos. So
yes,
I always try to have one.
And also, Alice, I like to listen to Dateline too at nighttime. When I wake up, I have insomnia, and I wake up during the night, and Dateline be on my TV.
Yeah, so you can literally have your iPad on your nightstand and just press play, and then just go ahead and listen and relax. So
okay,
and also because it's just audio, it's not visual. For me, at least, I'm on the screen all the time. So if I have an opportunity to listen to something rather than look at it, hey, I would, I would like that very much. So that works for a lot of folks, just like the multitasking. Hey, while you're cleaning, you can have your podcast playing and listen while you're, even in the shower. For real.
All right. And you're in the
bathroom,
music
in the shower, but if you listen to podcasts, that's it's a lot more informative. Nothing wrong with music. I love me some music, but there's different feelings that you get from listening to podcasts, getting the information. So it's a different type of vibe. So I would definitely recommend everyone try out and find at least one podcast that you like to enjoy. But
thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Shirley.
Very informative. Thank you.
No problem. Next up is Thelma. Go ahead, Thelma.
Oh, good morning, everyone. I've never heard no podcast. I'm just finding out the difference because I'm an old school. I'm gonna try to show you. I know you remember this, Alice. I can't look. How can I show stuff through my screen?
Oh, you would have to share your screen. But no, I can see your video. Oh my God, what is that? What is that thing?
I had my music on this. But look, here go the other one. This is a what? Hey, come on now. I know it's the 60s and 70s.
Oh.
Oh wow. Lord have mercy.
Okay, I know this is the white one is an iPod.
Yes, so I see. So
iPod.
literally,
and the other one it's a wider version of an iPod, and I have all music on these. And this is my old school riding the bus and with my earphones on and all, but I only put music on mine. And my children say I could download shows too because it went to the Bluetooth. But I never.
Right.
This podcast is a little bit better than these.
Yes, that's what I can say because with the physical devices, once you have to physically put on the media on that device, right? So with these apps, you can pull up everything you're interested in at your whim. You just have to use the device that you're already using to listen instead of having to put it on another device.
Yeah,
so the iPod and the MP3s players or the DVD players, even that all requires a second thing or to use. But with these apps that you have access to, it's all in one. So and you have as long as you have the internet, that's the difference between offline and online. Online is always online. Hey, you always have access to it. Offline, you have to give or the media or the medium to actually listen or use the information. So yes, the app is very, very helpful.
So the podcast is a device you buy and you carry that with you too, but it's just more wireless.
Yeah, so an iPod, the iPod that you have, that's the physical device. A podcast is the audio program. So podcast online, iPad and other devices offline. So yeah, you have
I have one more
all
question
of the topics on your room. Mm-hmm.
I have a clock radio and all Bluetooth. I play music on that and all. Now that's what I usually listen to. WYCB, Kathy Hughes, and other my buddy them on there, or either Steve Martin on WWR. Now by me having a wireless ear plug, I can walk around the house anywhere and still listen to that show.
Yep, you sure can.
It's coming out my bedroom.
With the podcast or with any audio, if you have a speaker in your house, you can use Bluetooth to connect to the speaker and not just have the audio come from the iPad, and then you can use earbuds. Like I have AirPods now, so it's really all about the wireless part. Like the wireless part is so revolutionary. Like the when laptops are able to be, well, there probably are, but phones are able to be wirelessly charged. But in certain devices. Oh, thank you, Thelma.
Yeah, my Alexa does a good job too without hooking two together.
Oh,
she be disturbing the neighbors. She tells her through the walls. Come over here.
But yeah, I hope I'm glad you enjoyed today. So thank you for attending.
So I learned. I'm gonna try that podcast though.
All right. Well, let us know next week.
I got to get younger.
Yes.
You already look it. So just go ahead and listen and enjoy. All right.
Okay, you too. Thank you, huh?
All right. Next up is, let's see, Miss Violet Harris. Go ahead. How are you today?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you all?
Good.
I have listened to some podcasts, but I never knew how extensive it was. So I'm interested to go just explore and do more. I enjoyed the presentation today. And I think it will help to stimulate the mind more.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes. Because anyone can watch TV, right, and just sit at the TV and just watch, and most of the time, you're just kind of like half listening. Like the podcast, they force you to listen. They activate that part of the brain that says, "Hey, you want to listen to understand." So you're more in tune with what they're saying. Then when the words, when they're coming out, you already have an image of your mind of what's going on. So you have that visual aspect that is what you make of it, because everyone has different interpretations of information. So so I would definitely take advantage. And again, thank you, Violet, for attending.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
All right. Next up is Anne. Go ahead, Anne.
Well, I just wanted to thank you, Alan, because I thought podcasts were boring, and there was stuff that I really thought it was mostly on sports or something way out there that that I wasn't interested in. I had no idea that I could listen to something about cooking and health and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like the other lady. Every time I come on here, I learn something new. Even when going to the afternoon sessions, I missed something that I might have overlooked or didn't hear the first time. Every time I go to a class, a module, I learn something new. So this has really, really enlightened my life. I just want to thank you and Miss Teresa and Daco, because I'm using the Reminders app like crazy. Everybody thinks I've gone. I've got my granddaughter and my goddaughter saying, "Nana, how did you find this reminder?" I said, "It's on my iPad." and it has straightened my life. I don't have a million little pieces of paper. I haven't started a grocery list and gone to look for it and can't find it and have to do the grocery list all over. All I do is put it on there, and when whoever's going to the store for me, I can write the list out the day before and put it with the card and the money or whatever, and go about my business. So I've saved time and whatever, I have a list for like what I need my aides to do during the week. And as we do it, we just take it off and go for the next week. So it's just been fantastic. So I'm really interested that I can go on a podcast and listen to cooking and the health stuff. Yeah, just everything, really.
Right. Oh, wow.
At Women's History, since this is Women's History Month, I saw an app for Women's History. I mean, really now? Yeah.
The first option. So you
that
can
was on there. That's on
there. Yeah. That's the very first option. So Apple does a really good job of keeping you updated and with knowing, what's going on in the world. But yes, all the programming that we offer, especially like yesterday when they had Miss Rochelle from Pepco, like we, each session you're going to learn something new. So hey, take advantage of all of this while it's still here, So
amen to that.
Thank you, Anne.
And Alex, that Rachel yesterday helped me to find out that we found out that there's somebody that is driving a Pepco truck.
Yeah, I heard in the beginning.
You heard?
Yeah, so
thank God for that yesterday.
Oh yeah, she was. I watched her presentation. She was very helpful. So we got more folks like that from every other thing you may think of. So it's just very refreshing about what we offer.
Well, all I got to say is I pray for everybody at DACO, and I especially pray for you and Miss Teresa, because you have definitely enlightened and brightened my life up, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And then you've got me associated with all these wonderful, exciting people on this iPad. So thank you.
Oh, yes. I wouldn't imagine my days without y'all. So thank you, Anne. Next up, we have Teresa. Go ahead and unmute, Teresa. Did I answer your 2 questions?
Yes, you did answer the 2 questions. And I just want to say I really, really, really enjoy this lesson on podcast. And Daco is really doing a bang up job. I don't know why I never heard of you before, but I love what you all do as it relates to bringing us information that we can use to make our lives, our bodies, and our minds better. That's really, really key. Now, I had heard a podcast before, but not. I've seen a podcast before. One of my relatives got a podcast, but it's an audio podcast. I mean, audio visual, audio, video. Excuse me, video. I did not know about this. I mean, I am really blown away. And as it relates to experiencing this before, no. What type of podcast am I? What type of podcast am I interested in? I'm going to be looking for things as it relates to special diets like gluten-free or diets that don't cause mucus, because we have those 2 issues in my household: mucus causing things and gluten-free. So I'm really, really happy to have this. And you showed out today, Mr. Alex. I want you to know you showed up and showed out, and I'm glad. Thank you so much.
Oh no, you did way more when you danced during the party. So no, I appreciate it.
I like that.
If you search nutrition, look at all these channels. Look at all this information: lactose, gut health, eggs, winter pounds, vegan, blood clots, cholesterol. Like all of this stuff is so important. So hey, just explore.
That will be my favorite one.
So yes, thank you so much, Teresa. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
I like what Teresa said when she said you showed off, Alex. You sure did. Good one, Teresa.
You guys deserve the best. So
good one, Teresa.
If I didn't want it to present it to myself, I wouldn't want to present it to you guys. So it's always fun. It never feels like work. So that's the best part of it.
Thank you. We appreciate you, Alex. Truly
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Yes.
I can't get Teresa out of my head when she said that you showed off. You did it.
Next up is Sheila. Go ahead, Sheila. Unmute if you have a question. Ms. Lewis, do you have a question for me?
Yeah. Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
I was just going to say the DC Council on Aging have a podcast. I didn't know if anybody was aware of that, but they do have one. And I was just letting the big folks know that the DC Council on Aging have a podcast out there. I didn't know if anybody was aware of it.
No, I didn't know.
I see some things. If you just go on Google, there's, of course, some, a lot of people are taking advantage of podcasts. So if you just literally search for whatever podcast you want, you can find a lot of different perspectives and different ideas being presented to you. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, because I say, stuff that happened in DC that affects us is particular to us. So there was AARP lady told me about the podcast. Yeah.
So literally, I'm just searching like some of the topics you talk about, like AARP magazine, today's tips, different channels. Right. So a lot of different podcasts that just give you different perspectives on a lot of different topics.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah. AARP is really informative too.
So, look, this one, A Party Without Limits, that explores the challenges and opportunities that come with aging and things of that nature. So, the world is your oyster. So thank you, Sheila. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
And you have a wonderful day.
I enjoy what you do. I enjoy what.
Oh, sorry about that. I misclicked, Miss Sheila, but thank you so much. It's always my pleasure, and I always see you on. So just continue to come on more, and you know, you'll have a library of apps that you use. So so yeah, that's one of the podcasts, and so far we've gone over 6 other apps during these sessions as well. So just have it on one screen, just have all of these apps that you've gone over, and then you can be like, hey, all of these apps I learned from the iPad program and how to use and utilize in the daily life. So yes, thank you so much, Sheila. Next up, just looking at time, we have Miss Gracie. Go ahead, Gracie. Nice to see you.
Hi, yes, good seeing you too. And thank you all for the programs that you present to us. I'm learning something every day. Today I got interrupted, so I didn't see the whole thing, but I want to answer 3 and 4 for you. What type of podcasts are you interested in? I love to look up the ones on health and wellness because I have a lot of things wrong with myself, and it helps me, you know, to know how to eat or you know, things I can do to help myself. And 4, it answers it, you know, it helps to improve my daily life. But just to make you all chuckle, I watch Dr. Phil all the time, right? So I had a person in life that had a personality. You know how sometimes you just, anywhere you go, you couldn't deal with it. So he said, watch my podcast. I'm going to do this on narcissists. I didn't really understand what a narcissist was in every sense of the word. So I signed into that. And when I finished, it was 4 sessions on it. When I finished, I was able to deal with this person because other than that, I was going to have to cut them loose.
Oh.
So that helped me in that way.
But yeah, look, I just searched Dr. Phil, and look, he has many podcasts on here. So you can look up like Best of Dr. Phil. That's pretty general. And hey, you can get your entertainment, your news, your sports, whatever. So yes, certainly. Thank you, Gracie.
Yeah.
Next up is Louise. Hi, Louise. It's
Hi,
always nice
how
to
are
see
you? Nice
Good,
to
good.
see you too, Alex. You know, 3 and 4, because you know, I didn't realize there was so many types of podcasts. I heard the term before, but I, like someone else said, I thought it was just kind of old dry stuff. I didn't even know how many different things you can see. And then I have 4, I have visual impairments. So this is wonderful. A lot of shows that I used to watch or I struggle watching, now I can listen, even the cooking shows and everything else. So I was like, and the health shows, I need those, just like someone else was saying. So
everybody
really,
does.
yes,
Everyone
really,
wants to be healthy. And it's really
Yes.
important. It's better to do it now than later because there may not be a later. So why not
That's true.
just do it now? So like health and wellness, if you literally search that, there is like fundamental health, the wellness, dishing up nutrition, health and wellness, all of this stuff. And you know, especially with like the nutrition, that's why you have Dr. Mundy come on.
Yes.
Talking about nutrition. So we were supposed to have her this week, but we're going to have her next Thursday, but it's going to be a special nutrition trivia as well. So, you know, I like to think of what we already offer and what we can, you know, what you can do to expand on that knowledge that you get. So this is, the app is super helpful on learning more about any topic you want. So.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Thank you, Louise.
You're
You have a
welcome.
wonderful day.
Thank you, Alex. You as well. God bless and keep you. Thanks again.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Next up is Bridget. Go ahead and unmute, Bridget.
Hi, guys. Good morning.
Hey,
Hello.
Bridget. Thank you so much, Alex, for bringing this particular topic. Sorry, I don't have my camera on.
It's okay.
I stayed up late talking to one of our members on the iPad last night. It's very addicting. I wanted to let you guys know that. But I've had experience with the iPad with the podcast on a different side. At Iverson Mall, where I did where I used to teach driving, there was a office across the hall from my classroom. And I was always curious about the people going in and out of there. So one day I walked in too, you know, and when I walked in, I saw this table. It was a conference table with several people sitting around it with their laptops and with beautiful microphones and a boom mic coming over the top. So I was like, what is this little station here? And they said, we could ready to do Jewel of the Nile. And then while I was in there, my daughter walks in and takes the seat.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, Beanie, what are you doing in here? She goes, Mommy, did you know I'm part of Jewel of the Nile podcast? So I immediately ran back to my thing and I typed in Jewel of the Nile. And sure enough, she has been on the Jewel of the Nile podcast for quite some time. And I never knew.
God.
So they were talking about things that were pertinent to the people in the neighborhood, pertinent to, you know, nice things. And her segment of the thing was to show the events that are happening in and around DC, the DC metropolitan area. And I asked her, I said, how did you become a part of this? And she said, I just walked in like you did. Okay. Now she also was involved with the National Veterans Association, and they had a podcast called In the Community. And in the community with the Veterans Administration, I forgot the man's name. His name was Abdullah. He had a tribal name, you know, but he would podcast with what's going on in the neighborhood as well. She was a part of that group, but she was on the other end where she was hosting her own podcast. And because she's not tech savvy, her film was sideways, upside down. She didn't know how to arrange the podcast, but I'm more interested. I am interested in podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts. As a matter of fact, one of the trending ones, really popular trending ones, was Kevin Samuels. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him. And I was into that because my husband was watching, and I was like, what are you watching? Kevin Samuels, this guy is really explosive, you know? And so, because he was so controversial, so I watched it. Man, I wasn't that much interested in his content, but I was interested in the reactions of the people. But I am more interested in the back end, how to start a podcast, how to make my own podcast so that I can talk to the people too.
Right, that's a good question. That's a very good question. I was like, I know one of them is going to ask this question. So
I know,
that is so I
would like
spoke
to
it
host
into
my own
existence.
podcast.
But certainly, if you go on Google, if you go on Safari, I literally all I did was search how to have your own show on Apple Podcasts. So it's very intensive, and even I still don't understand some of the terminology and such. But hey, if all of these other folks
can do it,
I know.
Especially if my daughter can do it, because she doesn't have, she's not tech savvy at all.
What you say, Bridget? You done got ahead of her?
oh, I've been ahead of that. You know, but
yeah.
But I
so
she's ahead of me because she's doing something that I've been interested in for a long time, or maybe even a YouTube channel. Maybe we can talk about that. To host a YouTube channel or something like that. I would like to be on the other end.
Right. So literally, what you do is go on Safari, search how to have your own Apple Podcast show, and there are different videos, different links. So I would just explore those links and see what you can find and what you can get. But literally, if you put your mind to it, you can learn and, you know, do what you like. So I wish you the best of luck, Bridget, and just use the internet and see what's going on.
Will do. Thank you.
But I hope you enjoyed today.
Thank you so much.
No problem, and I'll get back with you today. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All
Bye.
right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Bridget.
Let's see. Just we have 4 minutes, so I have these two hands, Miss Teresa and Dina. If you guys have a question, please ask it. So go ahead, Dina, unmute. So again, just go ahead and hit unmute, Dina.
Dina, we can't hear you.
Yeah, just go ahead and hit unmute in the middle.
Okay, I was thinking on the lines of Bridget. How's everybody?
Hi, Dina.
We used to have we had a council, a neighborhood council, and I think they had meetings once a month, but the president of the meeting passed. And I was thinking on lines of Bridget, to find out. I know the police, it would always be police there to always inform us about our area.
Oh, yeah.
You know, as far as crime, different ideas. So I was wondering if this podcast would be good for the homebound people. Could they, I don't know if anything is set up to keep people informed, because there are quite a few new people in the area now that may not be aware of certain activities and things like that that go on.
Right. Definitely valid, Dina. What I can say is that for that issue in particular, you know, we're all in DC, so we all experience it. There's a lot of great apps like the Neighbors app that you can look to see what's going on. There are different avenues of looking up news, like simply going to Google and searching the news, Washington DC news. You can look up what's going on in the area. But yeah, if someone wanted to create a podcast or a program like that, they certainly could. So as you can see, there are different types of podcasts for everything. So you know, that can be an addition as well. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Al.
Good question. No problem. So it's about that time. But again, I hope everyone enjoyed today's session. Thank you. If you want to give feedback or again have any questions, just please email me at abel@wildtech.org. Again, if you want to give feedback about any presentation you see or have any suggestions, please email me or Teresa. Put both of our emails in the chat. But it's always, you know, a pleasure to make these presentations.